Hi, today I want to share with you something that I often teach to my one-on-one coaching clients, and that is where I incorporate the tapping, EFT tapping points, and the emotional tone scale, because I really believe the emotional tone scale helps us to know where we are in life. And of course, there's other emotions other than just these, but this is a good scale that helps us be able to determine where are we and how do we feel at this time. And this is why I wanted to address and talk to you today about what I call the Flea story. The Flea story was told to me years ago by a friend that I really don't even remember who exactly was it when we were talking about it. But I find that I use it often and referencing it, and I thought you might like to, perhaps it can help you yourself with it. The Flea story has to do with our programs and our limiting beliefs. We've heard that through the times, right? Many a teacher teaches we have limiting beliefs and that we're wanting to knock them down. And that's what tapping does so well, is that it helps us if we're feeling this fear or anxiousness, we can tap and it reduces our cortisol and helps us feel a little better. Now, this is the thing that often comes back, especially for those that are doing quickly and not doing like deep processing with their tapping, but just wanting to get a little relief. And then the feedback though says, well, I felt good, I felt a little better, but it really, I certainly didn't feel that happy. It just took a little edge off. And so they feel kind of disappointed with the tapping results, perhaps. And even though they did feel calmer, it didn't get them up to their, happy and joy that they were, like to feel. Because, of course, this is where we would like to feel. And so many of the times, maybe we're here. And at the time, especially if we're thinking about tapping. Well, this is how the Flea story goes and how I teach it to apply to this. Is that, let me find, just excuse my artwork here. And have you heard the story about fleas as far as what fleas are? Fleas jump really far. And if you ever have an animal, you're familiar with fleas. They seem to jump, and you certainly don't want them jumping on you, right? They jump many feet. And with that being said, fleas are off the chart. Then if I was, here's a flea, and off, totally up, many feet. Well, what they did is an experiment, and they put fleas in a jar. And so let's have this as our base. And what they did is that they actually put a lid on the jar so that they couldn't go out. And so the fleas would jump, 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 but they learned that this was as high as they could jump. And they seemed to get it programmed or trained. Are we not always, we talk about how we're trained and programmed. It's like, oh, our limiting belief, we've been told enough times about something, we pretty much are going to believe it. Well, so the story goes, right? And so with that, this is where the fun comes, is what they did later, and hopefully I can get this to come off. Yes, they took the lid off. They took the lid off the jar. The fleas now have the option to jump totally out if they wanted to, right? With that, they did not. Why? The fleas only knew to jump this high. They had literally been trained. They did not think now they could jump any further. Now what they did in the experiment is they put them out of the jar, and they found that they only jumped as high as they had been taught in that jar, wherever their lid was. Now, with that, that is how I teach, and let's apply, how does this apply to the emotional tone scale? Well, here's their new level. Even with no jar, they can comfortably jump this high. Think of the story of Jonathan Livingston Seagull. No, it's not fair. Seagulls are not supposed to fly that high, right? Now, with that, where we're taught the seagulls, the fleas, only us, we're just like them, only taught. We can really go comfortably and safely only so far. Now, applying that, say you're feeling, let's just use a family event. We just kind of often have holidays or gatherings and things where we have families, and perhaps there's one person that just really makes you feel bad. Every time you see them, you just get a knot in your stomach and you just feel kind of, crappy, you don't feel good. And you try to avoid them. It's just not a good feeling. They kind of put you down and make you feel uncomfortable. Well, whatever that is, who that is, or however it applies to you, say now you're having this level of feeling like, I'm afraid I'm going to see them. I hope I don't see them there. I hope that perhaps maybe they'll be on the other side. Maybe they won't even show up. Maybe, you're thinking all these different things because you really have a lot of fear about that. So here is our belief. We have been taught and programmed a certain level of joy. That's why when we jump up to positive feelings and really getting excited, and we're excited and empowered and joy and feel great, that doesn't seem to last that long. It seems to kind of like, we get a little high and then pretty soon we're right back down to kind of old muddy area of life. It doesn't feel very good. So we're always trying to reach up there again. Well, with tapping, this is how it applies. We have a level. We have whatever our level is. So let's take our level. Let's say that our level kind of jumps up to, we're pretty much down. I hope you can see this here. I can't tell with the camera, but I hope you can see this. And then maybe you can get up to contentment. Oh, I'm content. It's okay. Life's all right. And that's pretty much where you'll kind of hang. Now with that, emotionally toned is what I'm meaning. Now, when you're tapping on this fear. You're tapping on the frustration, whatever your emotion is that, oh man, I just feel terrible when they see, and you're tapping on it. You're processing it because tapping and it makes you feel better. Well, with that, now you feel a little relief. A little relief. You're like, okay, it's lowered my anxiety a little bit and I can deal. What did it do? Maybe it just brought you up a level or two. Yes, you're not up here, but you're up a level or two where now you're not quite down into that total despair or grief, but now you're maybe up to, maybe you even feel a little jealous or a little frustration in there, insecure about how they are, like, hey, when they always show up, it seems like everybody's around them and they get all the attention, yet they're a jerk, say. And so now maybe this is your level instead of being so much afraid to see them. And so now here's your level right here. Remember, here's our level. We've been taught whatever your level is. Everybody has different size jars. And what your level is, now, instead of being here, now look at where you are. Now your top of your jar is now up a couple. So now you find that you can have positive expectations. You can feel a little more positive about the family event instead of just kind of hoping, maybe it won't go much or have to deal with them. Now you're kind of feeling positive about it. I feel pretty good. I always love when I meet my, family and friends, and you can feel good about it. Now you can have a level. See, so feel good. The tapping knocked it. Your tapping actually got you up the tone scale. Now you have this level. Now, if you were to continue tapping and following through and tapping on how you feel now about this new idea that came up, this new emotion is actually, I have a little resentment and that sort. Now, tap away that, then you'll find, you might come up. You'll come up a scale. Now you might actually have, instead, you'll have a little more passion and enthusiasm, a little happy. Hey, pretty good. So we're gradually going up the scale to where we are. Even if you go up just a little bit, doesn't that one level, doesn't frustration feel a lot better than, say, when you're angry or insecure? Maybe you're just frustrated about the situation. Whatever it is that you have where you're at. Now, with the fleas, here's the catch. This is what was so incredible I found. is that, get this, they continued their research with these fleas that were only taught to jump so high, right? In fact, they used to call it the circus flea. They put them on the bar countertop and watch the flea dance because that's as long as high as they could go. Even the offspring of the fleas that were only taught, like in the jar, they learned, even though they were never in the jar, that was as high as they jumped. They actually, never being in the jar, only went as high as what they'd been ever seen possible as far as in that mind. Now, with that being said, now you have, when you have done tapping, even if that's your level, okay, now you have a new plane. You have a new plane that you've come up to the area. So now maybe your new plane is right, well, don't run out of room here, is now your new plane is that maybe now you're starting right about here. Maybe this is your base now. See, maybe your base is right in here. And so now when you do your jump, you're automatically higher. So you're gradually going up to feeling that relief and feeling better. So I'm not saying we're as limited as the fleas, but I'm saying to let you know that we have a cap for what is safe and comfortable for us, that we've all been taught. You know, be careful of the undertow or whatever it is. And with that, our level, as we tap, just going up a little bit will feel better and get you just one step at a time, feeling better and better. That's one of the reasons why they say there's layers, because as you go up the scale, just like when I used the example of the family member, and first you're kind of, feeling like, fearful to see them. Then later you might be feeling a little jealous or whatever about it. Then the next point, you might be having a little area of maybe some blame, actually. Some blame for the family or someone that has happened or something that was done. Whatever it is, but that gets you a little bit higher and a little bit higher. So now you have a new concept to tap on so that you're over this. It's like, yeah, he doesn't bother me that much as far as that, but I am a little frustrated at the way he's taught me or treated me and that sort, irritated. So maybe you have one of these emotions, so start tapping on that emotion there. And so look at that. When you knock that down, now you can have an blissful, actually blissful, because it won't bother you and you'll enjoy yourself with your family time. So I hope that helps you. A little story about the flea. Sorry for my artwork. And take care until next time. Thank you. Keep tapping.